This is Aaron Von Lupton from RUE MORGUE magazine, and we are back with Listen to My Nightmare. And hey, if you're getting tired of all these metal guests that we've had on, we're going to do a little bit of a halfway thing here. We are going to talk metal, but we have our first ever film composer on today's show, thank God. We have none other than JOHN MASSARI. He is the composer of Killer Klowns from Outer Space, which is the best horror comedy from the 80s ever made. So John has a couple of songs that we're going to talk about today. He did a couple of remixes of the Killer Klowns from Outer Space theme song that was originally done by the LA punk band The Dickies. But before we get to that, I just want to sort of ask you a question here, John, because this is something that I find very odd about Killer Klowns from Outer Space in general. This is a film that definitely has gained steam and gained momentum over the years. I remember renting it. Actually, I think my brother rented it in about 1990 or so. And it's become so popular over the years that there's all kinds of different events, live screenings and conventions and you teaming up with the Dickies to do stuff. But it's not the directors that are really the spokespeople or the front people for this property. It's JOHN MASSARI, the composer. So how the heck did that happen? I've never seen that before, that the composer becomes the voice of this property.
Well, I had a great fondness for the movie when I first saw it. I can go into the process of how I was gifted with the opportunity to audition for it. But that's a long story in and itself. So let's say I went through that process. Now I'm allowed to audition, right? So I'm in a room with probably a good 50 to 75 people, and they're all other composers, and most of them I know. And they're there with either their managers or agents. And we saw the first screening of the movie. It had no sound, and it was just very stark and bizarre. The Dickies song was placed already in the movie. So I thought to myself, this is going to be a fun movie. So when I finally saw the scene of the forest, I just fell in love with it. So going back to your question, I think it's because I genuinely loved what I did for this movie. The music I did for this movie, I really loved it, and I wanted to share it because ever since I was a little kid, music has given me an experience, and this is the first time in my professional career I can make music that can give people a really genuine experience. I mean, before that, I was working as sometimes a ghostwriter on episodic television, and sometimes I was credited. Sometimes I was just basically an assistant. I would do orchestrations and things like that. I was working on Little House on the Prairie. There was a TV series called Heart to Heart. After I would create and produce music for those people in those companies, I would come home, I would put on my headphones, and I would listen to Blue Oyster Cult to relax, to get me back to where I kind of wanted to be.
Right.
But I had to embark on this career. It says, well, you should get a degree and distinguish yourself as someone who has a job. And that's what it is when you work in the media business. It can be a job. Everyone's scrutinizing what you're working on, what you're doing, and kind of guiding you to what they want. So this was the first project I had ever done that I can do what I want to do, because the Kidder Brothers basically put it on my lap. I'm not going to say the movies, but they listed names of movies that were out that they just could not stand the musical scores, and they didn't want their movie to be lumped in with all these other films. And they specifically said, I know you want to do it with an orchestra. Don't do it with like machines, synthesize stuff that sounds really bizarre. And so that's what I went on. So I guess maybe I resonated with the fans in a certain way from a creative standpoint, just like the whole movie does. The movie is an exercise of creative expression. I mean, my goodness, Killer Clowns from Outer Space, and you have three brothers that grew up watching monster movies, and this is their playground now. So there's that, and then there's the musical aspect. We had done a concert, live to film concert with an orchestra, and I had the Kidder Brothers there, and it was like a packed house. It was on Hollywood Boulevard, Hollywood and Vine, and it was like I think 1,000 seat venue, and it was just so much fun. And you could just tell that people were just happy to be to see the film in a different venue in a different light than seeing it on, on their own little TV and what have you.
It's a project that kind of screams passion, doesn't it?
Running when the suckers comes into their towns. Everybody's gunning for the likes of the killer clowns from outer space. Killer clowns from outer space.
We should get to the issue at hand, and that's that from out of nowhere, I, found out, got an email in my inbox about two separate songs, and I had no idea that you have your very own, I don't know, metal band, alt metal band, whatever we want to call it, JM.
Yeah, project. It's called JM, obvious reasons. Yes.
Yes, and you have two remixes. I was listening to them of the Killer Clowns Outer Space song. So one, it's a punk and metal hybrid, and the other one's kind of a straight up shred
Mhm.
metal song. So
Right.
where did these two songs come from? What's the idea behind this project here?
The album that this will be included on, these songs will be included on, it's called The Missiles of October. And it's about, Missiles of October is about experience I had when I was a kid, like 6 or 7 years old. Jonathan Padilla, who's an awesome guitar player and composer, he's helped me on a project. He said, we've got to do a cover. And I go, okay, all right. I think we should. So that's how the discussion went. And then I went and did one. Unbeknownst to me, he went and did one. And then about like a week and a half later, he comes back and I said, "Well, okay, I have a worked out one that I need you to do guitar track. I just did it on piano. I sang it. I have the basic form." He goes, "Oh, I have one too." And I go, "What? Yeah, there's two?" I go, "Let me hear it." And I heard his. I fell in love with it. I go, "You're gonna hate mine." And he says, "No, no, after we get done with it, you're gonna love it." So he did guitars. Another guy, Dan Serper, did guitars. There's a metal drummer in Kyiv, Ukraine. His name is Anatoly Shmargun, and he just tore into it. Was just so happy. And as a matter of fact, they even mixed both songs. They have a really cool studio out there. Amongst all the craziness is going on over there with the war, they're able to make music. So we had two different versions. So once I got Mad Lucas, Maddie came over and did the vocals, and she set the style, really set the style for it, right? I wanted something that was fun to listen to, and it is different from all the other covers, right? And so then I like grit my teeth, crossed my fingers, and I played it for the composer, Leonard Graves Phillips, and I said, "I need you to listen to these and tell me if this is okay, because I'm going to be releasing them for the 37th anniversary of Killer Clowns." And got to know something about Leonard. When you text him, you're not going to get an answer really quick. This time he answered really quick. And he says,
Wow.
"Wow, these metal versions sound terrific." I was going, I was literally speechless because we're talking about they're like the Ramones, but for the West Coast.
I'm very happy to know that it's going to be a 7-inch. I guess you could sort of
Yes,
call it a
and
split 7-inch. And
yes, and then I'm going to it'll be available only when like I do live appearances.
yeah,
If like
okay.
if we do some of these screenings, or at one point when the I am doing one convention in at the LA Convention Center that's kind of music focused. It's horror music focused. Music and film focused. There's supposed to be a film festival, and there's supposed to be bands playing. And it's the LA, it's called HorrorCon LA at the LA Convention Center. I think it's like the third week of September, something like that. So, and that's going to be, I'll be at that. But then after this album gets set, I've got to get a set of musicians that want to perform live, because the musicians that played on the album, not all of them aspire to play live. They want to just create music in their studio, do session work in their own studios, maybe rare occasion do an appearance, but not play in a band that can like do three shows, like play in various parts of Southern California. So that's a project for next year. The important aspect now is to get everything recorded,
Yeah.
whether people like it or not.
Well, it'll be a convention exclusive, right? So there you go.
Right.
Collector's item. And who is responsible for the artwork on the 7-inch? Because not everyone has seen it.
Well, listen, I know a lot of really great album artists that I can draw a concept of what I want, and they'll say, "Well, this is great. I'll be available like in 3 months because I'm on 6 other projects right now." I
Yeah.
mean, the really good ones, they're in demand. You almost have to like reserve them almost a year in advance. So what I did is what I didn't think I would ever be able to do. I signed up for a AI program called Leonardo, and I watched a lot of tutorials. What do you do to get what you want? Because I just don't want some random thing, you know. So I found out that if you draw something, it will recognize. And I drew basically a rudimentary one, and it got me in the ballpark. If you approach any art from like wondering if people are going to like it, you're never going to get anything done.
True, true. By the time you guys are watching this, the singles will be out. They're streaming on every platform. Both of them, Killer Klowns is what they're called by JM. And I guess we'll be looking out for the next event, next live performance. But you got the one on June 21st, right, in LA?
Hmm.
And that'll be live performance with both you and the Dickies, right?
Yeah, listen, the Dickies are the OG guys. I'm not going to, I don't have my band together yet. I mean, right now it's all studio musicians and session
Yep.
players. And then in September, I'm going to be at the LA Convention Center, and I'll definitely have vinyl there. And it's basically a meet and greet. And I give people, motivational advice.
Oh, there you go.
Doing. There's a lot of creative people that are afraid to let people see their work. And I said, well, coming from someone who's been told that's horrible, I hate that. Oh, I like that. I can just tell you that if you had to wait for people's approval, you're just not going to get any done. You just have to understand that part of what you do is part adoration and part obliteration.
Thanks everybody then for tuning in. This has been John Massari, composer for Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Once again, I'm Aaron Von Lupton, and this has been Listen to My Nightmare. Tune in again next time. I think you're going to like it.
The ring master